It's 2026 already. How did that happen? And you may be wondering how to get a job these days because the tech market is getting more and more difficult, more crowded. Maybe there is like less offers because of the AI and stuff like that. I don't know, but I think for people with the right skills and the right strategies, it's still time to thrive pretty much. So I thought it would be great to share my personal story on how I got my jobs at Google, Cisco, Samsung, how I got into Silicon Valley startups, all done pretty much from, I think I used the word pretty much too much, but all done from not so many resources. I was growing up in rural countryside in Poland, and I didn't have the right mentors, the right connections, yet I still managed to pull off a great career. And now I have this remote first lifestyle. I'm in Brisbane, Australia, traveling. So, pretty good life. My first two jobs, the one at Samsung and one in a smaller Polish company, I got through career fairs at my uni, which is maybe pretty obvious, but I think it's not enough people go to these events either at the uni or maybe they happen just as a separate events in your city. And there you can have access to the people that are responsible for hiring directly, either the recruiters or even the hiring managers, the people that you are going to work for. And this is a unique opportunity because if you just send your CV through some job application portal, then you just land on this huge stack of other CVs. But here you have a chance to actually sell yourself, to show them your personality at least a bit, and try to make them remember you as a positive, smiling person with not only the technical skills, but they just have to like you. If they like you, then it's all easy from there. So then you have the email address of the hiring person, and then you can chat with them directly after the event. So that's how I got my two jobs in Warsaw. But I always had this dream of going to Silicon Valley or going to Google or just going big. And that is tricky. How do you do that? You need a visa, you need a sponsorship. It's a pretty complicated process, and there is a ton of competition. So there was this event at my uni called Intel Startup Days or something like that. And it wasn't even meant for recruiting directly. It was just for the startups to come and tell about themselves, what they do, just short presentations, nothing too crazy. So I went to that event, I listened to the presentations, and then it ended, and then everyone just goes home pretty much. It was late afternoon, and I also left the uni building at that time. But then I got this little hunch out of nowhere. I was like, maybe I should go back and talk to these people and see maybe they have some internships or any opportunities. So this is what I did. I just turned around and walked back to the fourth floor. And it turns out that there was still a few people there hanging around. So I started talking to one of them, and they technically didn't have open positions, if I remember correctly, but he asks me, "Oh, but what do you do? What do you specialize in?" And I just say everything but AI. I just want to do the traditional coding thing. I don't want to train models and do this more data science type of things. And then he says, "Wow, that's actually quite unique because now everyone wants to do AI." That was 2019. So it wasn't that hot back then, but still people wanted to be in AI. So he said, "Yeah, let's get your CV. Let me connect you with our recruiter because he was the co-founder of the startup. That's pretty big. And he was just passing by through Poland. He was living in the US back then, but he was just visiting some family in Poland. So came by to give this talk at my uni. And yeah, that's how we connected. And we started the whole recruitment process. I had 5 interviews with them, but the most crazy point is that they still technically didn't have any open positions. So I didn't have pretty much any competition, I guess, or very little competition because it wasn't like hundreds of people fighting for this internship. And it was actually supposed to be in Warsaw just remotely. But then I went through the interviews. It was, enough to not screw them up totally. I think I did quite well, but the bar was probably a bit lower because of lack of this huge competition. And yeah, I got the offer for the internship in Warsaw. And then I was like, but you know what, guys, maybe I could come to California, and then we built a better relationship. We spent some time together, get to know each other better, and then if it all works out, I could come back to Poland, continue my studies, my master's studies, and work for you remotely. But then working remotely will be so much more efficient because we have spent a few months together getting to know each other and being in the same office. And I didn't expect much, but they just said yes. They were fine, you can come. So they started the whole visa sponsorship process, and it was already getting quite late. I think it was like May or early June, so we had to do the visa very quickly. And I remember I got my passport with the visa stamped early July, and I was booking flights for like the day after tomorrow or something. So it was all pretty nuts. But yeah, that's how I did it. And that is what later got me into Google, because I kept looking for all the possible ways to get an internship at Google. But yeah, I was trying referrals. I was trying also going to events that they organize, but I just couldn't get past the CV screen. I was just not getting any interviews. And getting this internship in the US changed the game completely. I apply right after it, and I get interviews scheduled. So that also changed a lot. And then actually for the next year, I got the internship at Google. All right, so you're going to ask, that's a great story, but what's in it for me? So I think the one piece of advice I could leave you with is just look for one event in your city this month. I bet there is something going on, like a conference, or even you can go to the uni, like one of the unis, even if you're not a student, and check out if they have like any tech talks or career fairs. I know that at my uni it was happening like 2-3 times a year. In Warsaw there is this conference, Warsaw IT Days, or there is plenty. So you just go check it out. Many of them are even free. And then you can treat these small conversations you're going to have with the people there kind of like job interviews in terms of the questions you want to ask. So you want to be very curious about the company, very positive, and just ask, what do you like the most in your day-to-day workday? Or what are you looking for in the ideal candidate for you? What should I work on if I want to have better chances with succeeding at your company? You can just research these interview questions. But overall, you just want to be chill. You just want to smile and be friendly, curious about them, even as a person. Why not? And finally, the last piece of advice is kind of vague, but I think it's important. You just like ask for what you want in life. Like the same as with my story about California that it was supposed to be remote from Poland. And it would be like that if I haven't just asked, can it happen from California? It was as simple as that. You would think that something extreme has to happen, like stars have to align to make this work, but you may be in a situation where the ideal outcome is just one question away, which is insane to think about. So, yeah, just a small change of perspective. Hopefully, this was all helpful. If yes, just drop a subscribe on this brand new channel. I'm still learning to just be more articulate and not talk for too long because that's quite tricky if you just start talking to the camera. That's super fun and super challenging at the same time. So yeah, I leave it here. See you in the next one.